elevate their ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership. So a new chapter has been written in India-Singapore ties with the establishment of a comprehensive strategic partnership. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Singaporean counterpart Lawrence Wong held a bilateral meeting in Singapore on Thursday. The two leaders reviewed the bilateral relationship. They called for expanding the trade and investment flows between the two countries. The two leaders reviewed the cooperation in defense and security, maritime domain awareness, education, AI, fintech, new technology, science and technology, and knowledge partnership. They called for strengthening connectivity to boost economic and people-to-people ties and an acceleration in green corridor projects. The two leaders also discussed the outcome of the second India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable held in Singapore in the month of August.
एक्सेलेंसी, गर्मजोशी भरे स्वागत के लिए मैं आपका हार्दिक धन्यवाद करता हूं। आपके प्रधानमंत्री पद ग्रहण करने के बाद यह हमारी पहली मुलाकात है। मेरी तरफ से आपको बहुत-बहुत बधाई और हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। मुझे विश्वास है 4G के नेतृत्व में सिंगापुर और अधिक तेजी से प्रगति करेगा। एक्सेलेंसी, सिंगापुर केवल एक पार्टनर देश नहीं है। सिंगापुर हर विकासशील देश के लिए एक प्रेरणा है। हम भी भारत में अनेकों सिंगापुर बनाना चाहते हैं और मुझे खुशी है कि हम इस दिशा में मिलकर प्रयास कर रहे हैं। हमारे बीच जो मिनिस्टरियल राउंड टेबल बनी है वो एक पाथ ब्रेकिंग मैकेनिज्म है।
India and Singapore exchanged 4 documents in the areas of digital technologies, semiconductor ecosystem, health and medicine, and education. The MOU in digital technologies will boost cooperation between India and Singapore in digital public infrastructure, cybersecurity, 5G, and emerging technologies such as supercomputing, quantum computing, and artificial intelligence. The MOU on semiconductor ecosystem partnership will encourage cooperation in semiconductor cluster development and cultivation of talent in semiconductor design and manufacturing. Dialogue mechanism set up under this MOU will facilitate investments by Singapore's companies in India. The Pact on Health and Medicine aims to promote closer cooperation in human resource development in healthcare and pharmaceuticals sectors. It will complement the efforts to promote Indian healthcare professionals in Singapore. The fourth and last agreement is linked to educational cooperation and skill development. India and Singapore have an active collaboration in the area of skill development. The MOU will complement those ongoing initiatives. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi was accorded a ceremonial reception at Singapore's Parliament House. And the Prime Minister signed the visitors' book kept there. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi called on Singapore's President Tharman Shanmugaratnam as well. The Prime Minister also met former Prime Minister of Singapore, Goh Chok Tong, during his visit. Mr. Goh Chok Tong is the Emeritus Senior Minister of Singapore. The Prime Ministers of India and Singapore visited AEM Holdings Limited, a semiconductor manufacturing facility. They held discussions with the stakeholders on opportunities for collaboration between India and Singapore in the field of semiconductors. Students from the World Skills Center of the Eastern Indian state of Odisha welcomed Prime Minister Modi at the semiconductor company. The students are doing their internship there. And DD India's Akshay Dongre spoke to the chairperson of AEM Holdings about future collaboration.
The Prime Minister of India is visiting Singapore, and one of the key highlight of this visit is going to be technology of semiconductors. In fact, we are at the AEM Holdings, and we have the chairperson with us. Sir, thank you so much for speaking with us. How do you see the future as far as the relation between the two countries are concerned, and the role that semiconductors can play?
Well, if you look at the Indian diaspora across the world, it's very clear to see that the leaders in semiconductors are there. How we can collaborate, obviously, this change in a way that impacts Moore's Law and advanced packaging creates opportunity for both nations. Prime Minister Modi's visit here is very apt because that signals that symbiotic relationship where it starts with the business relationship, the investments. So all stakeholders have to benefit in these relationships.
So you are part of the semiconductor industry in Singapore. How is the industry looking at the India's push as far as the ambitions to become a manufacturing hub?
Well, it's absolutely the right push. There are two ways, and I call it two types of investments you got to make. One is the journey that Singapore took in terms of first getting into electronics manufacturing, assembly, making sure that the electronics demand is local in terms of its production, and then bringing the chips in from a logistics supply chain perspective. At the same time, building up the infrastructure for more advanced semiconductor manufacturing, which requires clean power, water, and then of course the ecosystem of chemical producers as well. So that will take time. Then there's the human capital development, right? So there has to be the technicians, the supervisors, the people who understand how to problem solve from a process improvement perspective and continuous improvement. That all needs to be built up in scale as well.
In the last few decades that we have seen, there have been only limited countries that have been seen as the manufacturing hubs or places of innovation as far as the semiconductor technology is concerned, most of them located in Southeast Asia or in the region. But now new players are coming up. So how can the collaboration take place, especially when we talk about India? What kind of potential that you see in the Indian market as well as the Indian manufacturing industry?
Well, it's part of a new globalization, right? So you see a lot of high-end electronics, mobile companies moving to India. It's all public, right? They're shifting to India. So that shift is actually a very important end market because they are consumers of semiconductors.
Absolutely.
So the more electronics assembly and production that India has, the more it will have an end market for semiconductors.
Right.
So you got to think about that ecosystem because logistics also plays a part in it.
Chairman of AEM Holdings and talking to us about the semiconductor market that is at present and the future of collaboration that can take place between India and Singapore as far as the semiconductor industry is concerned. The camera person SP Dubey, Akshay Dongre, DD India.
And Akshay Dongre also spoke to the CEO of AEM Holdings. Take a listen.
Now we have the CEO of AEM Holdings, Amy Liang. Ma'am, thank you so much for speaking with us. Semiconductors is a very interesting term. In fact, a lot of people are interested to know more about semiconductor industry, especially in India, a country with the largest population now eyeing at a semiconductor industry with a lot of seriousness. So how do you see the semiconductor industry evolving now in today's day and age?
Semiconductor industry is more exciting than ever. And the collaboration between Singapore and India are really helping to fulfill that need, and I'm really excited to be part of this journey.
Ma'am, how does the Singapore semiconductor industry is viewing India right now?
India has lots of consumers and it's a great market to access, but more importantly, there's huge amount of engineering talent that we can collaborate to innovate together. And I think we have great opportunity to collaborate, to develop solutions that unique to India.
How can the Indian companies that are also manufacturing semiconductor, in a way, are part of the ecosystem? How can the two countries, collaborate in the advanced manufacturing?
India has lots of histories and years of experience in chip design, and as equipment suppliers like AEM, we work closely with chip designers very early on. I think given the new emerging nature of semiconductor industry in India, that early collaboration, so we can develop technology ahead and become trendsetter in test technology.
What else is the expectation as far as the Singapore industry is concerned from India in terms of the collaboration?
I think we need to get to know more, access to the company, and there are great examples that we started working with the India ecosystem. Visit like Prime Minister Modi's great example. We need to continue to expand our interactions with the technology companies to accelerate the collaboration.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So we just spoke to the CEO of AEM Holdings, and looking at the important role that semiconductors play as far as the present technology and the future technology is concerned, it is absolutely important that more and more countries come together and collaborate as far as this crucial technology is concerned. With camera person SP Dubey, Akshay Dongre, DD India.
All right, joining us live from London is Mr. Ashok Sajjanhar. Mr. Sajjanhar is a former Indian ambassador to Sweden, Latvia and Kazakhstan. Ambassador, welcome to DD India News Hub. Now, we are approaching the end, or we are moving towards the end of the Prime Minister's visit to Singapore. Did the outcomes of the visit tick all the right boxes for you?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much, Ramesh, for having me on your show. Yes, they tick all the right boxes. I think first, the fact that Prime Minister is visiting ASEAN countries, two major ASEAN countries, within about 2-3 months of his third term. I think that sends out a very strong and a clear message that India is keenly interested in strengthening its ties with Southeast Asia, with ASEAN countries, and also in terms of the focus that we have on our Act East policy as also on the Indo-Pacific. I think also if we look at the results of the visits in terms of the documents that have been signed, the meetings that have taken place, I think they are very significant. And since Prime Minister is now in Singapore, I think all the agreements that have been signed, all the discussions that have taken place, this will provide a very strong impetus to bilateral relations between India and Singapore, but not only bilateral relations, but I think geopolitically, geostrategically, this sends out a very strong and clear message.
Ambassador, trade and investment is the central pillar of the India-Singapore relationship. Has the visit served to boost the economic ties between the two countries?
Absolutely. You're very right. Singapore is the largest trading partner and the largest investment partner as far as India is concerned in ASEAN, and even globally, it appears somewhere around 5th or 6th position in this area. But I think now from the traditional areas, India and Singapore are moving towards more high-tech industry. Even the agreements that have been signed today, the 4 or 5 agreements that have been signed, one is on financial fintech between the two countries that I think is going to take our countries forward. Not only is it going to be very significant and important in the area of bilateral trade and investment, but also whether it is digital public infrastructure, it is cyber security, also in the area of education and skill development, in the area of semiconductors. We are going to get much investment into our country. Singapore is a leader as far as manufacture of semiconductor chips is concerned. Also, it is a very significant player globally as far as manufacturing of semiconductor equipment is concerned. It has about 10% of the first in terms of the global market for semiconductor chips and about 20% for the global semiconductor manufacturing capacity. So in all these areas, India and Singapore will work together. Also, health and family welfare, pharmaceuticals. So there is, all the discussions that have taken place, and there is great seriousness on both sides. This is demonstrated by the India-Singapore ministerial roundtable that had taken place recently, to which Prime Minister Modi also referred in his opening remarks. I think this is a very unusual and very forward-looking initiative that has been taken. 4 ministers from India and 6 ministers from Singapore, they met and they discussed all the possibilities of cooperation and taking the relationship forward. And I think this is the final push that Prime Minister's visit and the discussions and decisions that have been taken will bring a huge push to the bilateral ties.
Ambassador, and last but not the least, I want us to talk a bit, if you will, about geopolitics, the situation obtaining in the wider Indo-Pacific region. Now, given the tension that are prevalent in that part of the world, is there scope for India and Singapore to cooperate in the multilateral arena, possibly in the ASEAN or even at the UN?
No, definitely. As far as ASEAN is concerned, you would recall, Ramesh, that when India and ASEAN entered their summit relationship in the early 2000s, it was basically Singapore which was at the forefront. You would recall at that time it was Goh Chok Tong who was the prime minister, and he had equated ASEAN to the body of a big aircraft, and he had said, on one wing we have China, we need India as the second wing to provide balance and stability and sustainability to the cruising ASEAN aircraft. So Singapore has always been very supportive of India's increasing role in the region. And particularly, I think the role that India is playing in terms of, what Prime Minister Modi in his last visit to Singapore for the Shangri-La dialogue, he had enunciated the principles of our Indo-Pacific policy, the fact that India has been advocating a free, open, inclusive, and prosperous Indo-Pacific. And that, of course, is very important for Singapore because Singapore is such a major global economic player. So freedom and openness, both of the waters as well as of the skies in the Indo-Pacific, South China Sea, or air connectivity, I think that is very important for Singapore. So we are on the same page as far as this issue is concerned. And I think all platforms, whether it is the ASEAN, whether it is the East Asia Summit, or it is the United Nations, I think both countries are cooperating, are collaborating, and this will be to the benefit of both the countries as well as of the region and the world.
Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. All right, moving on, the inaugural International Solar Festival 2024, hosted by the International Solar Alliance, is being held in New Delhi. In his message, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded the alliance for inspiring policy and action.
In such a short time, the membership of ISA had reached a milestone of 100 countries. Additionally, 19 more countries are ratifying the framework agreement for attaining full membership. The growth of this organization is important for the vision of one world, one sun, one grid. Friends, in the past few years, India has taken many massive strides in green energy. We were the first G20 nation to achieve the Paris commitments in renewable energy. The remarkable growth of solar energy is key reason in making this possible.
The Prime Minister says that the event brings the world together to celebrate the sun. He also said that popular mantras in an ancient Indian scripture called the Veda are about the sun.
The Vedas were texts composed thousands of years ago. One of the most popular mantras of the Vedas is about the sun. Even today, millions of Indians chant it daily. Many cultures across the world have respected the sun in their own ways. Most regions also have festivals related to the sun. This International Solar Festival brings the whole world together to celebrate the sun's impact. This is a festival that will help us build a better planet.
Prime Minister Modi, in a social media post on X, lauded research highlighting the impact of efforts like the Swachh Bharat mission. He said access to proper toilets plays a crucial role in reducing infant and child mortality. He termed clean, safe sanitation as being a game changer for public health, and he expressed happiness that India has taken a lead in this. Switzerland has advanced its proposed free trade deal with India by submitting it to Parliament for review. The agreement aims to expand Swiss exports to India by eliminating tariffs on industrial products. In return, India is set to receive significant investments worth $100 billion over 15 years from Switzerland and members of the European Free Trade Association such as Iceland, Norway and Liechtenstein. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman emphasized that simplifying tax compliance for citizens is a key objective for the union government. Her remarks came during a special address titled Finance Minister's Insight Future Path, hosted by the Revenue Bar Association in Chennai on Thursday.
Revenue is the last consideration with which every budget set of meetings happen. You might think I'm not saying the truth, but this is the hard truth I'd like to put before you. Yes, we need to raise revenue. And during the budget consultations that I've had, several of them happen with the department, several of them happen with the Prime Minister's office and Prime Minister himself. Revenue raising comes later. Simplifying and easing compliance on the taxpayer comes first.
Governor of India's central bank, the RBI, Shaktikanta Das, addressed the Financial Institution Benchmarking and Calibration Conference on Thursday. The conference was organized jointly by the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry and the Indian Banks Association in Mumbai. The governor, in his address, said that the Reserve Bank of India remains optimistic of India's growth prospects. He projected the growth rate of 7.2% for this year.
For the current financial year, the Reserve Bank has projected a growth rate of 7.2%. The IMF has also projected India's growth prospect. They have in fact revised their growth projection for India upwards and have now placed it at 7%. And 2 days ago, the World Bank has also upgraded India's growth forecast to 7% for the financial year 24-25. So as you can see, I think the projections made by all the agencies, international agencies, as well as the Reserve Bank, I think our perceptions and projections are converging.
Bangladesh's 5-member election commission, led by Chief Election Commissioner Qazi Habibul Awal, resigned on Thursday, citing a change in the country's political situation. The announcement came a month after the Awami League government was toppled in a student-led mass uprising. Awal said that the commission members had submitted their resignation letters to be forwarded to President Mohammad Shahabuddin. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reiterated that his government will accept a long-term ceasefire in Gaza only if it ensures that a border region between Gaza and Egypt is permanently closed to the Hamas, preventing the group from using it as a vital supply route. Netanyahu was referring to the Philadelphia corridor. He cited concerns that international pressure would prevent Israel from regaining control of the area in the future.
We're committed to achieving our goals. All three goals: destroying Hamas's military and governing capabilities, releasing all our hostages, and ensuring that Gaza does not become a threat to Israel anymore. And all these require standing firm on the things that will ensure the achievement of these goals. And with God's help, and with our people's will, and with the courage of our soldiers, we'll achieve all goals. And all three of those goals, all three of them, go through Israel's control of the Philadelphia corridor. And it's obvious why. You want to destroy Hamas's military and governing capabilities, you can't let Hamas rearm. It's obvious. So you have to control the corridor.
The World Health Organization will begin polio vaccinations in southern Gaza from Thursday. This after it conducted a vaccination campaign in central Gaza. Over 3 days, more than 187,000 children up to 10 years of age were vaccinated in central Gaza.
On Sunday, WHO and our partners began a polio vaccination campaign in Gaza. Over the first 3 days, we vaccinated more than 187,000 children up to 10 years old in central Gaza. Today, we're preparing the logistics, cold chains, teams, and communications to begin vaccination in southern Gaza.
And now to updates on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ukraine said its forces had shot down 60 out of 78 drones launched by Russia in an overnight offensive on Thursday. Ukraine claims that Russia used one ballistic Iskander-M missile. Now, this marks another airstrike between the countries in the ongoing conflict. Russia's President Vladimir Putin delivered a keynote speech at the Eastern Economic Forum on Thursday. The forum is an annual economic conference with representatives from over 40 countries. Speaking on Ukraine's incursion, the Russian president said India, China, and Brazil could act as mediators in potential peace talks over Ukraine.
We respect our friends, partners, who I believe are sincerely interested in resolving all issues related to this conflict. This is primarily the People's Republic of China, Brazil, India. I'm constantly in contact with our colleagues on this issue. And I have no doubt that the leaders of these countries, we have a trusting relationship with them, sincerely strive to help understand all the details of this complex process.
India is celebrating Teachers' Day on Thursday. It marks the birth anniversary of India's first Vice President and the second President, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. He was a philosopher, scholar, and a teacher. He dedicated his life towards education and shaping up the youth. He famously said that the end product of education should be a free, creative man who can battle against historical circumstances and adversities of nature. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has extended his best wishes on Teachers' Day, an occasion to express gratitude to all teachers who shape young minds. He paid tribute to Dr. Radhakrishnan on his birth anniversary.
I believe when a teacher learns, a nation leads. टीचर की सबसे बड़ी जो स्ट्रेंथ होती है वो पॉजिटिविटी होती है, सकारात्मक। और एक टीचर की भूमिका ही है जो व्यक्ति को रोशनी दिखाने की काम को करती है। मैं मन से मानता हूं टीचर सर्वाधिक देश को बनाने में योगदान देने वाला ऐसा काम आपके पास है। आप देश बदल सकते हैं, जीवन बदल सकते हैं, आप सदी बदल सकते हैं, ये सामर्थ्य आपके अंदर होता है। विद्यार्थी का शिक्षक के प्रति आदर, शिक्षक का शिक्षा के प्रति समर्पण और विद्यार्थी और शिक्षक के बीच में एक अपनत्व का भाव, यही एक जोड़ी होती है जो जीवन जीने की कला भी सिखाती है और सपने संजोने की आदत भी बनाती है। देश आज भारत के पूर्व राष्ट्रपति डॉक्टर राधाकृष्णन जी को उनके जन्म दिवस पर आदरांजलि दे रहा है।
And now to news from the world of sport. First up, all the updates from the Paris Paralympics. India's Harvinder Singh bagged a gold medal in para-archery individual recurve open event to become the first archer to win gold at the Paralympics. Harvinder Singh defeated an athlete from Poland 6-0 to clinch the gold. With this achievement, Harvinder became the first and only Indian archer to win a gold medal at Paralympics and Olympics and secure medals in 2 consecutive editions of the Paralympics. It adds to India's archery success in Paris, where Rakesh Kumar and Sheetal Devi earlier won bronze medal in the mixed team compound open. And India's President Draupadi Murmu congratulated Harvinder Singh on winning gold in men's individual recurve para-archery event at Paris 2024 Paralympics. She said, and I quote, "My heartiest congratulations to Harvinder Singh on winning gold medal in men's individual recurve para-archery event at Paris 2024 Paralympics. This is Harvinder's second medal at consecutive Paralympics and first ever gold medal in para-archery for India. His exceptional performance under tremendous pressure is inspirational. I wish he brings more glory to the tricolour." Meanwhile, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi also congratulated Harvinder Singh for his achievement. The Prime Minister said, and I quote, "A very special gold in para-archery. Congratulations to Harvinder Singh for winning the gold medal in the men's individual recurve open at the Paralympics 2024. His precision, focus and unwavering spirit are outstanding. India is very happy with his accomplishment. #cheer for Bharat." In entertainment news, Tim Burton's Beetlejuice makes its long-awaited return with the original cast members Michael Keaton, Catherine O'Hara and Winona Ryder, joined by new faces Monica Bellucci, Willem Dafoe, Justin Theroux and Jenna Ortega. Burton revealed his emotional reaction on the first day of filming, highlighting the film's deep connection to its roots. The sequel, which opened the Venice Film Festival, hits theaters overseas on 4th September and the US on the 6th of September. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India News Hour. You can get all the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download it. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.